Imagine having $1.5 million. In many parts of the world, that amount of money can give you a comfortable life, a large home, enough space, a feeling of security. Now imagine taking that same money to one of Canada's largest cities. Instead of comfort, you often find small rooms, older buildings, and prices that feel far removed from reality. This difference is not just about housing. It is a warning sign, a sign that something deeper inside the economy is no longer working properly. Housing in Canada is no longer just about having a place to live. Over time, it has become the center of the entire economy. Jobs, banks, government policy, household debt, and even personal life decisions are now tied to housing prices. In this video, I will explain how housing slowly became so important that it began pulling money away from productive work, creating dangerous levels of debt, dividing society, and placing the country in a risky position. This is not about blaming individuals, it is about understanding how the system evolved. In a strong and healthy economy, money flows into productive areas, factories that make goods, technology that improves efficiency. New businesses that create value, research that leads to innovation. These investments increase productivity, and when productivity grows, wages usually follow. This is how living standards rise in a sustainable way. But in Canada, much of this investment did not go where it normally should. Instead, a large share of money flowed into housing. Buying homes, selling homes, and treating housing as a financial asset rather than as shelter. This shift happened because housing felt safe. Starting a business involves risk, innovation can fail, markets can change quickly, but housing prices kept rising year after year. That made property appear reliable and low risk. Banks found housing loans attractive. Investors preferred buying property. Businesses found it harder to secure funding. Slowly, the economy tilted away from production and toward property. When money stops flowing into productive sectors, productivity slows. When productivity slows, wage growth weakens. This is exactly what occurred. People worked longer hours, education levels improved. Yet incomes did not rise fast enough to keep up with the cost of living. At the same time, housing costs surged. This combination placed households under pressure. People were working more but feeling poorer. As prices continued to rise, many homeowners felt wealthier. On paper, their net worth increased, but this wealth was not cash. It existed only as higher home values. To use that wealth, many people borrowed against their homes. They used borrowed money for spending. Cars, renovations, travel, everyday expenses. This created the feeling of prosperity, but it was driven by debt rather than income growth. For many years, interest rates were extremely low. Borrowing felt easy. Monthly payments seemed manageable. This encouraged even more debt, but low interest rates do not last forever. When interest rates began to rise, the weakness of the system became clear. Monthly payments increased. Debt became expensive, household budgets tightened, the sense of financial comfort quickly faded. When households spend less, businesses feel the impact. Restaurants see fewer customers, retail sales decline, small businesses struggle. Because consumer spending drives a large part of the economy, the slowdown spreads across many sectors. At the same time, headlines may still say that the economy is growing. Numbers can appear positive, but many people feel worse off. This is because total growth does not reflect individual reality. What truly matters is growth per person. When population growth outpaces housing supply, job creation, and infrastructure, daily life becomes more difficult. Rents increase, competition for jobs rises, living standards decline. Housing also became too important for governments to allow prices to fall freely. Housing supports banks, construction jobs, and government revenue. A sharp decline could cause serious economic damage. Because of this, when prices begin to fall, policies often step in to stabilize the market. The goal is stability, but the result is that risks build quietly beneath the surface. Problems are postponed rather than solved. Over time, rising housing costs created a clear divide in society. Those who bought homes earlier benefited from rising values. Those who did not are left renting. Rent consumes a large portion of income. Saving becomes extremely difficult. Home ownership feels out of reach. This affects mental health, family planning, and long-term stability. Housing stops being a ladder for progress and becomes a wall that blocks opportunity. Speculation adds even more pressure. Some homes are not purchased to live in, but simply to store money. This increases demand without increasing supply. Prices rise further, and local buyers struggle to compete. Homes gradually shift from being places to live into financial instruments. This disconnect worsens the crisis. High living costs combined with slow wage growth also affect talent. Skilled workers compare opportunities. Many decide to leave for places where housing is affordable and wages grow faster. When skilled workers leave, productivity falls even more. Innovation slows. The economy becomes even more dependent on housing, deepening the cycle. So how does this situation end? There are two likely paths. One is a sudden correction where prices fall quickly and the economy absorbs the shock. The other is a long period of stagnation where prices remain high, wages stay weak, and living standards slowly decline. The second path is more likely. It is quieter, but it is also more painful over time. Housing should support an economy, not control it. Strong economies grow by building useful things, solving real problems, and investing in people. They do not grow by endlessly trading the same assets at higher prices. Real success comes from productivity, innovation, and human potential, not from rising property values. Understanding this issue is the first step toward change. If this explanation helped you understand the bigger picture, consider subscribing for more clear and simple economic breakdowns. And tell me in the comments, what is the highest rent or house price you have personally seen? Thanks for watching.